Wits University Vice-Chancellor Adam Habib has resigned. He'll be leaving the university at the end of December. He says he has accepted an offer to serve as the University of London's Director of the School of Oriental and African Studies. And Yuveka with us tonight. What are the plans and why is he going?
Yeah, sounds very exotic. Well, let's ask him. Prof, good evening and thanks for your time. So, yes, you've had quite an eventful tenure so far. You have written a book about it and everything. So, why the decision to leave?
Well, I'm on my second term, and in about, at the end of this year, I would have about 2.5 years left. And the big question is, what would I do after that? I would be probably 57 and a half, too young to retire. In a lot of ways, my passion is to build and manage research universities. We've got a few of them, and there's some fantastic leaders in the other ones. And so, in a sense, it was a time to consider. So as it made an offer, and it was a reasonable offer, and I thought, well, this is the moment. Wits has done well over the last 7-8 years, and this is perhaps, we've got a strong team. They can lead this institution, and I think it's time to move on.
So what exactly will your work there entail? You speak about research, you talk about building institutions, and you've done quite a bit of that. You were right here in the middle of a massive movement like fees must fall. You know, you were the person they loved to hate at the time as well. So what exactly will you take with you to do that work that you're going to do there?
Well, one of the things that we have had to do at Wits is turn around this institution, make sure that it does what it's meant to do. So drive research, ensure we graduate students, ensure that we have more postgraduate students, achieve a degree of financial sustainability. And we've had to do this in politically tumultuous times.
Yes.
And in a sense, that's what I'm going to do there. That's my job. It's my job as director, will be effectively as a vice-chancellor of SOAS to effectively do that. SOAS is a great institution. It has great research record. It has a good social justice mandate. It's focused on Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. So it keeps me in touch with the African continent. It does have a challenge, is its finances. And there hasn't been, it's not on a sound financial footing. And we've got to make sure that we bring the social justice mandate and the financial mandate together. And we create an equilibrium or a balance between the two. And that's the purpose of my job. That's what I will be doing in the first year or two, effectively.
Well, I'd like to know what you will be leaving here thinking of our tertiary institutions. And I mean, you can comment on universities, TVET colleges, and technicons and all of that. You know, are they living up to their full potential of what they actually could be? It seems like it's changing, it's evolving, the role of these institutions, especially in the lives of students and South Africans. Are they doing what they are supposed to be doing, and are they doing it correctly?
So let me start off by saying that I think that the universities and the post-secondary education system is necessary for this country healing itself.
Yeah.
We're not going to achieve inclusive development. We're not going to achieve growth. We're not going to achieve healing the divides of the past if these universities and this post-secondary education system doesn't play its role. It's a very diverse system. There are some institutions that are historically black that are burdened, if you like, by the lack of infrastructure that was bequeathed to them by apartheid. There are some research-intensive universities, Wits, UCT, Stellenbosch, UP. These are top-end institutions, and for the amount of fees one pays, you get a really world-class institution. I mean, in the case of Wits and UCT, we're in the top 200 in the world, with a budget that is probably quarter of many of the others. So these are very, very powerful institutions, and I think that these institutions have been under attack. They've been under attack by student leaders who want free education. They have been under attack by politicians who don't appreciate what exists. And I think that fees must fall, I've said it before and I say it again, was a legitimate struggle. But there was a lot of political adventurism by student activists and politicians that brought our universities under threat. Even today, look what's happening at UKZN and Nelson Mandela and UWC. I think it's unconscionable that we put these institutions, these public institutions, under attack. Our future and the training of future generations will happen in those institutions, and we need to ensure that we come to their defense.
Now, I want to ask you how you think we can possibly resolve that, because there are two sides, like you say. Yes, the pressure that's coming from students, they have their own gripes and their own issues and their own struggles as well. I saw you glued to our monitor earlier when we started the show, reflecting what was happening at the SONA debate today and the chaos and the disgrace, I think, let's just call it that. And if that is what's happening at that level, where we are supposed to be talking about the serious issues and sorting out people's lives at the moment, South Africans are in a state of despair. It's new despair, as John Steenhuisen called it. That's where we are. How do we even get to solving the issues at these grassroots levels?
Let me say something. I think that our public institutions are under attack. And they are under attack by opportunistic politicians. I want to make this clear. They are under attack by opportunistic politicians. What we saw at the last State of the Nation address is an embarrassment. And frankly, until we start taking hard decisions that make it pain for these institutions to put out our public, for these parties to put out public institutions that attack, we're not going to fix the problem. Too often when the EFF was attacking Jacob Zuma, we all loved it. But now we've ingrained a practice, and our institutions are in serious trouble. If I was to make a decision, I would say that the Rules Committee must start making some hard decisions. And so, if you do this once, if you do this twice, after that, expel them for 6 months from that power. You see how quickly they come into line. But, fascist movements in the 1920s played with Parliament, and they destroyed Parliament. This is coming out of the playbook of the far right. And until we have the courage to stand up to organizations like the EFF and say enough is enough, this country's public institutions are going to be under threat. And I think that that's true of Parliament. I think it's true of the universities. I think what we've expected of universities is unfair. If this country wants free education, anywhere in the world, that's done by government. It's not done by vice-chancellors. If we want free education, then government must make that decision. But you can't subject the universities and attack them and subject them to arson like we've seen in UKZN. As long as we don't stop that, we are in serious trouble.
And we have this kind of behavior where we sit. Okay, well, London, he's headed your way. I hope you're ready for Professor Adam Habib when he does come there in 2021.